I
Hi,
like
everybody.
content.
All right. Well, that's good. So we're going to get started here. So hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight at this session of the Inventors Roundtable. And we'll have people popping in as we go through, because I know I had several lined up. But otherwise, we are recording this and we can send out the link to anybody who misses it. Brandon Kohler is our speaker tonight. He's going to teach everybody how to do LinkedIn effectively. I know when I started it, I made a mess of it. And I would have a whole bunch of followers on one and then say, oh, you should be titled this way or doing it this way. And it's like, but you can't bring them over. And so kind of got it all figured out now, but it was a tough lesson to learn. And I'm hoping that Brandon can help everybody learn it much more quickly and with a lot less frustration. So Brandon, tell everybody about yourself, and I will let folks in as they come in. And, we're going to let you have the screen so you can give lessons, and go for it. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Definitely. Thank you, Rita. My name is Brandon Kohler. I launched a product during the shutdown, and then I launched an invention company as I did it and kept track of what I was doing with learning about shipping, learning about patents, patent agents. And then one thing I was doing with my day job for business to business with LinkedIn was promoting myself and getting more clients. Well, I also built my product development company on LinkedIn at the same time. So I was keeping track of, hey, this is what I shipped out today. This is what I made. I met with my engineer. I met with a videographer. Here's a pallet of material I shipped out. And so I kept learning more and more things with how to promote myself, how to click on profiles, how to make the images updated. And then I got people to reach out to me as I was on more roundtables and inventor mix-ups and mashups around the country, so that way I could keep learning and keep helping people, and then learn from others as well, because there's different people that had skill sets that I didn't have that I could pay for them for blocks of time. And so the most recent development, after I've already sold several thousand of my gun accessory product that's behind me right now, is I've been working on a LinkedIn book, because so many people would ask me for questions, and I would just sit there on their phone right there, do a screen share, make them a video, and they were paying for it on the spot. And I was like, hey, I've got to put my finger on this and make something happen to help others. So now I'm launching a LinkedIn book that's step-by-step guide to help inventors and others, that's going to launch in August. And I'm here tonight to help you guys, help promote it, and go from there.
Thank you.
So just a bit of a heads up. If all of a sudden I disappear, all right, it is because we lost power. There are thunderstorms going through. But you guys will be able to stay on and continue your conversation. And then at some point, power will come back on, and I'll say, oh, yeah, there's the recording. So just in case.
Sounds fair.
Brandon, you're an inventor. Andrea and Brian are inventors. Andrea, tell everybody what you've been working on and kind of where you are in the process, so Brandon knows who he is speaking with.
Okay, so Brandon, I can't remember if I sent you my link to my website so that you could just see it. I don't remember, because we had talked before, but it's called pettravelfeeder.com, and it is basically luggage to carry dog food to the kennels, or just leave it at home and open it up for whoever's coming into the house to take care of your pets. And sometimes there's just a lot of confusion with pet food these days for some reason. The cat was getting the dog food and the dog was getting the cat food, and it was like nobody knew where the spoons were, and the kitchen was a mess. I'm like, OMG, this needs to stop. So hence my product. It's very organized with the food inside for one dog for 2 weeks, or 2 dogs for 1 week. It's got little pockets on it. It's basically luggage that you can take with your pet. And it doesn't just have to be a dog. I mean, it could be anything, any pet that you have, broken out by feeding times. Usually most pets are fed twice a day. You can do whatever you want with the product, really, in how you label it and set it up. There is another, so that's the first patent. The second patent is the insert that would be removable, so that if you already have that size luggage, you could just take the insert and put it into the luggage you already have. And then that just becomes your travel case. Now, it certainly won't be as cute as the one that I made, that has your dog picture on it and, Fluffy's name and all that stuff. But I just saw a great need for it and ecologically too, in that when you take your pet food to these places to leave your pet, they're all like, we want the food packaged, by serving. They don't have the time to go through and measure everything. So I actually put it so that they can just pull out a thing, dump it, done. And then so they're plastic or it could be, that's the way I designed it, was like plastic food holders, so that you're not using baggies all the time. I mean, I've gone into places and seen hundreds of baggies of food, and I'm like, wow, think of the trash when they use the baggie, I don't think they're reusing them. But anyway, so that's what it is. Tried to go to a few different events with it everybody loves it. People all want to sell it. That's the thing, is everybody's like, oh, here's my card. I'll put it in my shop and sell it. Oh, I can hold all this great inventory. I don't have it made yet. I mean, I'm still, the patents are out there waiting to sort of process, and a lot of people want to sell it, but I'm looking for the licensing agreement at this point. So it's kind of getting it out there without really I have one prototype that I made, my husband and I. So it's really cute. It's very, professionally kind of put together, looks great, but I can't make 50,000 of them. So there I am. I just want to get it out there in front of the public, and people could start on my website. There's a form that they can fill out that gives me information on what they think about the product, any changes they might, any questions. And it just drives people to that website, to help me sort of rethink it in production. So I need lots of help getting it out there.
That's a good start. You're on a roll.
Brian,
I pay you to do it.
Go ahead.
I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
And fill everybody in on you're at the very early stages, but you've got multiple things you're working on.
That's right. So by way of background, I'm a community mental health psychiatrist in rural New Hampshire. And some of the ideas I've developed are related to my work in trauma. I'm on the front lines of a lot of trauma. One of the concepts I've developed is an app that could be used alongside a dirt cheap generic antihypertensive that I've used with a high degree of success in my clinic to help with anxiety and trauma, stressor-related disorders. The medication's called guanfacine. It's been around forever, and not a lot of psychiatrists are using this medication in the way that I've been using it in my clinic. I've got just some preliminary data from the patients who I've prescribed it to. So my hope with this particular concept is to develop, again, an app that folks would be able to use alongside the medication. So it's an active treatment as opposed to sort of a passive treatment. Still very preliminary development at this point, way outside my expertise. I should mention as well that as a physician, as long as you show up every day at the hospital, you put in your work, you pass your tests, and hopefully not kill anybody, you have a job at the end of the day. And so promotion, self-promotion, that sort of thing is not something I think that comes very naturally to us as physicians. So my LinkedIn account is really just a way to stay in touch with colleagues and friends of mine from medical school and folks who I've sort of lost touch with over the years. The other concept I'm really excited about, I should mention, I'm rarely an early adopter of anything, but towards the beginning of the pandemic, I purchased and had installed a tonal device, TONAL. It's a really cool device. It in essence, it's an electromagnetic resistance training device. I sometimes refer to it as my robotic spotter. It's analogous to like what a Peloton is, but for strength training. It's a company who has grown quite significantly over the last several years or so. I've been able to cancel my gym memberships, no more bulky weights and things like that. I have to lug around, that sort of thing. It attaches to the wall. Really cool, very slick device. A couple of years ago, while I was working out one evening, I got this idea that basically what you're doing when working out with these machines is playing with magnets. because it's electromagnetic energy that's generating the resistance to build the to build muscle, to build strength. And then the idea came to me, my goodness, what if you could basically gamify this experience? And so the way I like to sometimes explain it, when I first met with Rita, and I pitched it this way: imagine sort of working out with Iron Man as your trainer with a virtual reality headset, and then the VR headset would communicate with the electromagnetic resistance device like this tonal, and essentially gamify strength training, which is, I would argue, that's probably the holy grail of fitness training, to be able to really bring a level of enjoyment into exercising, that sort of thing. We're moving forward with that right now. I just met with Rita and a patent attorney and a draftsman earlier this week to really start to bolster our provisional patent application. Again, it's still in the very early phases, outside my expertise, to be sure, but something I'm kind of excited about, because I think the potential for something like this would be quite big. So,
okay, thank you. Ward, introduce yourself.
Of course. My name is Ward. I am a biomedical engineer. My first time joining this group, so I'm looking forward to meet everybody and connect. So I have a PhD in biomedical engineering. Specifically, my research focused on regeneration of the intervertebral disc. And right after that, I joined industry, been in industry for 3 years now. And I've been working on an idea of mine for prostatectomy simulators. This would be hands-on, physical, almost like a dummy that the surgeon gets to practice on to do prostatectomy or any type of tissue resection or manipulation. So one problem that we have in the surgical field is that surgeons don't get to practice physically on anything, right? So a lot of their rehearsal happens in their heads, and a lot of the skills that they build happens from the field. Like, they have to practice on patients to get better, right? So in advanced surgical techniques like prostatectomies, so in advanced surgical techniques where you get to use like advanced technologies and prostatectomies, without getting into details, it's really hard to find anything to train on. So that's sort of the problem that I'm trying to solve, and I'm actually in the process of writing my own patent. I've submitted a provisional, and right now I'm working on the non-provisional, and kind of hopefully get that, and then go after some federal grants. That's also a skill that I have, so I'm hoping to. We'll see where it goes. I got a couple of contacts that I met, one in Florida and people in Texas who are interested in the technology, and they have companies specifically developing medical devices like scopes, endoscopes that look into the prostates, and surgical equipment that get coupled with these scopes. So got some early adopters lined up, which is good. So I'm kind of racing against the clock to get something patented and start playing. I don't know.
Oh, we say in the industry, never file your own patent. Like doing your own brain surgery. By the time you realize you've made a mistake, it's too late to fix it. So in the medical field, I figured I'd share that with you, So anyway, Brandon is going to talk to us about, dealing with social media, because for a lot of inventors, you're not going to do a TV commercial. So you've got to be able to reach out into the social media that makes the most sense for you. And, different platforms, there's so many different platforms out there these days. And LinkedIn is the one that we find is the most business oriented. So for inventors, it makes sense to learn how to do it the best. But once you've got then the product, different platforms are going to make more sense. But I'm going to turn it over to Brandon, and you guys can ask questions. He is going to take over the screen and give us all some information. Thanks, Brandon.
All right, everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go through a quick crash course first of like the top 10 things to do and focus on when you're working on your LinkedIn profile. Then we'll invite Andre and I'll go over some questions and Q&A with you guys, or I'll send you all LinkedIn connections and kind of give you a few pointers of like what I would do next to clean up your profile or what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
One thing we always talk about with people is always with your profile photo, because a lot of people, it looks great. It has your wedding photo from 20 years ago. If that's not you anymore, you've changed your hair, ladies, it's short, it's a different color. If we see you out in public, we're not going to know you as the same Jamie as we connected with on LinkedIn. So having a profile photo that's actually recent, good lighting. If you go to enough events and networking events, they'll do a lot of profile headshots for you for free, and they'll send it to you within 2 weeks. And so that's always useful. One thing, if you do like look real close at mine, I actually do my company colors with an outline. It pops out, and I saw a girl do it to match her eyes one time. I'm like, oh, that looks really neat. The banners are always important when someone gets to your website, because if you are actually looking at a company's profile, if they don't have one, like for their company one, it doesn't look legitimized. So I'll show you a few examples for someone's banner. Like this is theirs behind them. It's actually done. Some of the other people, they've never done their banner. So they know, they don't spend much time on LinkedIn, and they're also not working on their profile as much. And so that's one benefit, of course, is your photo, your banner. It's very easy, especially if you are good with ChatGPT or you're starting to say, hey, make me a LinkedIn banner, because there's an exact ratio of what it is. It's like 1620 by something. And they'll put your text there. If you're a veterinarian, if you're a contractor, if you're a beautician, you can make your banner very easily. And then right now, mine is just a normal LinkedIn account. It's not the premium, which means you have additional things unlocked. You have additional email. There's featured sections that you can do if you have LinkedIn Premium. I think the cheapest price right now is like $79 a month, which some inventors can't afford. They're already paying for products and prototypes, and they're not really ready to promote themselves enough to be spending an additional $80 per month. So the things I'm telling you, you guys will have access to now. There's nothing special on this aspect of it. If you have a unique name, there's also the ability to record it. So like the way you pronounce my name is actually Kohler, and a lot of people say Collar, Kolar, all kinds of funny stuff. If you have a unique name, you can edit your profile name and actually put it in phonetically so that people can hear it. So that's an important thing to do. Because I have a company profile as well, this is where I was showing. So this was my first invention company. You can tell how it doesn't have a picture, right? This one actually does. So this was my first invention company I made after I read a couple books and thought I was going to do something. And then I had napkin sketches for a lot of years. And then it took till the shutdown for me to actually make a real company where I got a product off the ground and went somewhere with it. Yep. I just want to click on this. Sorry, because I'm not in view mode, it's going to do a few things interesting. Come on, internet. I'm going to view it differently just so I can see it. So there's a couple top tips that you can do to make yourself look more professional. So like with me, and I'm reaching out to companies on a normal basis, I want to look as good as possible because I want to look as a professional. If I still have a Gmail email, there's a reason for it. but at least if I can come off as professional with photos, with events that I've done, with trade shows, with connections I already have, you know that I'm not just a closet inventor and that I've actually done something. If you are that day one person, that's fine as well, but at least edify yourself in so that you look presentable. Is like something my mom taught me as a kid. Like, you've always got to be presentable. If you're going to spend the time to send someone a LinkedIn connection, make sure that your page is updated. It's got the photos, it's got the correct contact information, which is always important because sometimes people do want to reach out to you. They want to send you a message. Well, if you have your Hotmail from 40 years ago, it's not going to work the same as if it's actually your email that you're checking on a normal basis. And that was something me and Rita talked about prior to the conversation, is both having your right email and then having something that's old and outdated. If you can't get access to it, or if your LinkedIn is a few years old and you need to make a new one, make sure that it's the official one. Make sure that it's the one that you have access to and you've got the backed up password and all that good stuff, so that you can actually arrive at the correct page. So there's a couple things that I always recommend for people to upgrade: your photos, your contact information, your banner. And then Andrea is actually going to send you a connection request. I want to make sure that you've got the right one. Can you hear me okay, Andrea?
Yes. Uh-oh, everybody's frozen. Did we freeze everybody?
Andrea.
Oh, there. No.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
sure can.
Yeah, there I am.
You, Andrea?
It is.
Okay, so we are already connected. And so I'm just going to do like a quick review of yours, of like if you were a client of mine, or if I was recommending the book for you, of here's top things that you want to do. And it's fast, it's down, it's dirty, but it's also helpful to edify you in and to bring you in. And then I was going to show you how someone that I'm not connected with, because this was a question she asked, was, oh, hey, I always get bugged by LinkedIn to turn into premium if I want to message someone. Because if you're wanting to get into a new inventor group, you can message the head person and ask for acceptance or tell them what you're working on, but you only get so many of those per month before they want you to pay. And then you may have to plan it at the end of the month where, hey, here's the top 4 people at XYZ company I want to talk with, and procurement, and with the innovation station, because they're the ones buying that. Or the USPTO, like if you get your the person you're contacting, like I'd met one of the USPTO guys at a giant networking event, and so he actually got me in touch with the person that was reviewing my patent, and then that's the only time I ever got any progress for the 2.5 years. So you might also save those in messages as well, just as a benefit, kind of like, I don't want to say like a hit list, but you're like the people you really want to talk to, save your in messages to actually send them a 150 character invite so that they know who you are, what you're trying to do. There's a ton of LinkedIn books that tell you like, hey, you are making a relationship first. You're not telling them buy my doors and windows. So don't be salesy on the first time. You are introducing yourself or sharing your goal. You're wanting to tell them what you're doing or what you're working on, or, hey, I saw that you were at this event. I want to go there next year. There's a lot of little things you can do to actually build rapport and have a conversation versus just trying to be salesy. I'm not going to click on your contact info because this is live, so anyone that watches it, but if it's old, it's an issue, because then you're not going to be checking that message. And then eventually, if I were you, I would work on like your banner and either do something that's for you or something that goes along with your industry. And then, like, it doesn't say where you work, which is fine, and you have endorsements and all that good stuff. I'm actually going to show you like one back to my profile for one of the posts that I was working on. little slower. Like one of the neat things you can do with LinkedIn now is you can also make featured posts. So if you want to talk about the type of business you are or the company, you can actually make things pop up first. So if someone new is searching you, they might not always see the thing you did yesterday or last month. You can pick kind of like your best profile photo for other social medias, like your top 5. That's something new that LinkedIn did probably middle of last year, where you can show your featured post. So if you got awarded your patent, if you were in the newspaper, if you met this person or got an autograph, like that's something you can feature, which also lets them know what you're trying to accomplish versus just something you shared or commented, if that makes sense.
Okay.
And then, as always, I recommend making sure you have a real company page. So like if you're just starting out, it's very easy to make a business page, make a photo, claim that you actually work there, and then work on your banner. So those are all simple ones. We're going to go a little bit higher level into just instead of picking on people's profiles, because I also in my book I talk about posting like 101, 201, 301. So there's a lot you can do with tagging correctly, because I'm on LinkedIn in the morning to see what people are doing. There's a lot that you can do with actually tagging it correctly. So do you see how this is in blue? That's how I actually did an @ symbol. So constantly I see people that post that are like, at the Atlanta Braves Stadium, thank you ABC Contracting, thank you Glenn for inviting me. They will not see any of that unless you actively tag a person. They won't see it because this is a clickable link. So I could go to the website at this time. I could thank this organization. So there's plenty of people, like when you're going to an event or like a testimonial Tuesday that I do, I actually had the person that left it for me. That's who I tagged. That way they would see it. Anyone that follows them would see it. And I can prove to you with analytics, when you make a real basic bare bones post that says you went to an event and thank the sponsor and here's who was here, you'll get a few hundred impressions. When you say, I was at Anaheim Stadium for the Inventor Networking event of the year, and thanks to this person for meeting me, you now have 1,200 impressions, because anyone that follows the Anaheim Stadium or anyone that follows that inventor or anyone that follows that event would now see your post on their feed, which then gets you more promotion, which helps with your analytics, which then gets you more followers, which gets you more connections. And then if they see that you're an inventor or a product developer or a 3D rapid prototyper or a graphic designer, you might get additional business out of it because they are helping you. So like number of impressions, all that good stuff. So that's into a higher level posting when you're actually tagging people correctly, because if it's not, it's just black. And then one of the benefits with tagging it correctly, and this is more of like a level 200 post. So like at Rita, and because I'm connected to her, she pops up instantly. If I wasn't connected to Rita and she had a common name, she might not be on that list. Then I have to put her state. And then if that doesn't work and I still really want to tag Rita, I can always post it and edit it later. Or I could go to her, like the cheat code for that is going to her profile and then sending her a LinkedIn connection and then following her. Now through cookies and everything else, LinkedIn's going to know I like Rita. And so now that I type her name, it's actually going to pop up the same way. Same way with like, let's try Ward, because I'm not actually connected to him. I'm going to get all these other results. And then luckily he's got a unique last name, but see how he's like a third connected? So luckily it showed up. Or if I had to put his name, so like because Brian has a common name. Brian, can you hear me okay? if I put his job title or his state, read offhand, you remember what state Brian's from?
Connecticut, right?
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Somewhere there.
Right. Part of the geography there.
It may be too, Brandon. It looks like, and this goes back to when I was in kindergarten. It's spelled brain, which I take as a compliment since I'm a shrink. But
Brain.
Of course, you start with the. So make sure that you then add their state or their company. And then if that doesn't work, actually go to their profile and then like them and follow them. And then you'll be able to tag them, because like some of my bigger posts, I'm trying to tag 13 people or 13 sponsors. Not all of those people am I going to be first connected with that I actually have to then follow them first, because especially if someone was like a sponsor for an event, I want to work with them, or I want to work with that contractor. You want to make sure that you follow them and like them early, because everyone likes the analytics. And then most of these people all have like marketing people that then comment for them. So keep in touch with that too. Like if someone commented on your post or someone liked it, hey, that means they're viewing you, and that gives you one more thing to do and one more thing to follow up with. So that's kind of like the 201 posting. And then level 301 posting goes into like when you're actually getting someone to comment back on your post. You're tagging an event, you're tagging an organization, you are tagging people that participated. And then when you start to get all of that together, that's when you really get a lot of results. You get a lot of new followers. You get other people that comment, because it is a social media. So I mean, you'll make friends, you'll make connections, and you'll make people that they'll like your post all the time. There's people that will comment on your post on a normal basis, or they'll agree with you, or if you asked a question. Like I always like doing hooks and trying to get people to why you should reach out. So then like what's some, go ahead, please do.
I'm sorry, thought just came to me. So like on mine, Brandon, where would I, if I wanted to reach out to Mars Pet Products or Mars, one of the big pet product companies, how would I like do something like that on my site? Do I go to just do a post and then at Mars, or how and what would I do?
You could, and I've seen people do that, but in is it Mars, just MARS?
Yeah.
But pet. Do you know if it's Mars Petco company? What's the cool thing for it?
I'm trying to think. Mars. It's a subsidiary, I think, of the Mars company. All right, say Purina. Let's go with Purina.
Spell that for me, because I am a poor speller.
Purina.
All right. So So this is the company, and of course, if I was wanting to learn about them or work with them, you would follow them first, and then like, hey, here's something cool for me personally. Like someone I went to school with works there. Well, boom, that is a instant lead. Hopefully there's someone that's like important, or they do something, or they might know. They're like, honestly, man, I sweep floors there, but Janice is the person you need to talk to. So by doing this, and then by like your profile is still minimal, like Brian said, he's like, I keep up with my colleagues. Well, colleagues move around, colleagues go to new places, colleagues have family and kids that then start at these big companies, that then you may have a connection that then, like, it's the whole 6 degrees of connection. Well, then you might have a way in, or you might know who to talk to, or you might get their email, because that's another like cheat code. Is you can usually look up first name, first initial, last name at Purina.com. If you find out the procurement person is Jessica Nelson, j.nelson@Purina.com. Hey, Jessica, my name is Andrea. This is what I developed. Do you accept product innovations, or who should I work with? Like people are usually better off with questions than here's my stuff, blah, 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 blah.
Right,
But
right, okay.
if you're asking a question, some people are willing to help and point you in the right direction, or they'll tell you, we don't do that anymore, or here's a form fill like Black & Decker does, and then by the way,
Right.
we own this. So
Yeah,
that would
okay.
be the one thing to do. So if I was on here, you can actually find people that work here, and you would
Mhm.
just start going through this. Like procurement's usually who we deal with. You
Okay.
might also look at the nutrition person. Like if you, that's one of your angles, you're like, hey, this is important because of this for how to feed the dogs. That's someone you could reach out to. And then one of the other things I would do, and it's in the book. So let's say I wanted to reach Purina. I would send 9 people connections, because I may wait on the CEO, but then when the CEO clicks on my profile and they're like, oh crap, they know 7 people at my company, maybe I should know Brandon. And you can do
Right.
it the same way. That looks good on paper, kind of like referrals and everything else. Like, oh, you've already
Right.
worked at these other companies, and they don't know that you don't actually connected to Cindy, but the fact that you're connected with 7 people, maybe you already do business, maybe you do accounting for them, maybe you did their shipping, but then they know that you are you're involved. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
So
Thank
if I
you.
was you and I was wanting to get with that, you would follow Purina, which is easy to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll have their contact information here, and then you start looking through their people. And then, like for me, I would usually search procurement. Like that's someone I want to talk to.
Right.
I
Right.
hope that's still you. One second, folks. So now anyone that has a job title of procurement pops up. And
Oh,
then like you can
interesting.
tell that this person is even private or they don't have it. So I could start messaging these people. I could start following them. I could find out what other organizations they're into, so on and so forth. This is that thing where we talked about like for the message. So I'm out of in messages for the month. I've
Okay.
only got like 5 of them.
Yeah,
If
that
you
comes
have
up all the
premium,
time.
it means you probably already used yours for the month.
But a lot of times I'm never on there, and so it just comes up automatically. I'm like, what is going on here? So I don't, it's kind of just
And make sure
confusing.
you're signed in too, because I have a lot of people that always try to like look at profiles and do stuff, and they're not actually signed into their account. So of course, a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
things are locked because
Okay.
you're not signed in. So same thing with like my company has an Instagram that I don't do. We pay for it.
Mhm.
I can only see so much, and then it kicks me out unless I log into the actual company
I
site.
see.
So I can only
Okay.
see the top 3 things. LinkedIn's
Okay.
similar. It's going to give you an exact window unless you are logged in to see everything.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Thank
What's
you.
the next question? Otherwise, I'll go into like more profiles that I've updated, because I want to be able to help you guys, because I can teach and show you stuff, and then hopefully you apply it. But if there's real questions, I'll do that first.
I had a question on the analytics.
Good.
Go
All right.
for it.
What is your recommendation on using analytics to drive future posts, and like, I guess the strategy behind using analytics?
It's like
post
anything
things.
that you want to see what works for you. And then it gets into psychology and some other things, because the people I follow, and I'm in a major city, so like it's a blessing that I get to see what people are doing and what works and what doesn't. So for analytics, there's also some psychology and marketing behind it. So like just text gets so many views, a video gets more views, a photo gets so many views and time on it and comments.
Mhm.
A photo of a smiling person gets more. A video of a smiling person, when you look at how well it does in analytics, is crazy. So you're like, hey, I need a bunch of smiling videos to post for this to A, do well, for it to be viewed long enough to make it worth it. But then you also have to mix it in because it can't all just be the exact same thing. Sometimes you want to get a message out. Sometimes you want to celebrate something. Sometimes, because LinkedIn's really good about like certifications and trainings, it's just a basic, hey, I passed this new certification, or I was awarded this. So keep that in mind. And then when you're on your analytics, you can see what's doing well. You can see what type of people are viewing your profile. You can see who's commenting on stuff, who's celebrating things. So once you get your brand or kind of like image out there, see what's doing well for you, and then keep doing that. And then like, you know that you have the starting blocks of, hey, I need to have my company tagged, I need to be in company swag, I need to have my product, it needs to stay within 30 seconds, because you can also get more and more into this of how long people are viewing this. You can look at where people are at, what type of jobs, and so on and so forth. So LinkedIn's beautiful for what it does and for the additional things it will teach you. So you'll be able to track once you start getting things that's like techie, celebrate, see how it does. Tagging someone in a project and then seeing how that does, because then they'll share that. So like, I'll have some posts that do okay for my audience and my followers and people I'm connected with, and then I tag someone bigger than me, or I got like a book signed, holy crap, well then they shared that. Well, now that went out to 20,000 people, and of course the number of impressions in the analytics did so much better because it was in front of 10 times the amount of eyes than what I had. Here's like another high level post that I always recommend for people when you're starting at a new company. Make sure it's a photo of you in either company swag with a company logo, because I can prove on both my analytics of like the comments and the impressions. I have a coworker, he did the same thing, but he just posted that he started there, and it's that real generic plain photo that's like gray that everyone has. Like, I don't know if I could go through my feed real quick and find someone new that started a job, and it's just that real bare bones one. How much better that does of tagging your company, because then that way the people that work there know that you're working there, and the new people, and then having your logo. So like 4,000 impressions is pretty good. I bet you I could probably scroll for under, I'm going to probably look bad doing this, 15 seconds, and we'll find someone new starting a job, because I saw one this morning, or a new certification, and it will be just the real basic, hey, I was at that event, gray image. I'll look one up to show you guys. I'll just Google image it real quick, because so this, make it a little bigger, very generic, barely gets any attention, gets no eyes, anything. So I bet you, like, if I went to her, like, no shame on her, because it might be something new to her, she's not on LinkedIn all the time, she would not get the amount of impressions and things, because it's what everyone else has. It's not the new fresh thing. It's not very spot on. It doesn't stand out like the other things that you can do. So if you're, even if you've been at the company for a while, like if you got a promotion or you did a project, do a photo with you in company colors at least. If you've got a logo, if you can stand with your boss, an owner, anything at the trade show, you'll get better results because of people liking smiling faces, smiling videos. And then it makes them think of it too. Like, they may not have even realized that you started at biotech. And then they see you out and they're like, oh, what's new? And it's like, oh, I started at biotech. And they're like, I think I read that. I think I saw that. And then when it stands out, they're like, hey, we're working with biotech, or we're a longtime customer, or I want to learn about biotech. So that's like another benefit I would tell you guys is if you're starting a new company, make sure you're putting an actual photo of you there in company colors, company swag, and with the logo, and you'll get way better analytics. So I don't know if that helps your analytics question at all, but my take home message from when you started that is actually get 10 pieces of content, get 12 pieces of content, and find out how it actually did. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
And then always don't be afraid to use like ChatGPT to rewrite things for you, because it's going to make it a better audience, especially if you're saying shorten this for LinkedIn, or like I'm bad, like I'm going to overdo things because I'm a technical person. I'll have 500 characteristics. I'm like, I gotta get this down to 300. Limit this to 300 characteristics. Make it more concise. Don't let me repeat my take-home message, or let me say take-home message. You need to learn this. Please know this. So like we're going to go to Rita's for a second, because like I want to see some of the stuff that she promotes, because she is constantly in the media. She's constantly doing events. It's worthwhile to kind of see how she is promoting that. So I'm actually just
the bad things I do.
You don't do any bad things, but that's like because people follow you and people want to look forward to the next event. And then like sometimes there's the calendar events and people keep it on, and they know like your roundtable once a month on Thursdays. But then like you also, if you see it, you're like, oh man, I need to put that in my phone. And people change phones all the time, or they're on vacation, or they're doing something and they're out of routine, and they're like, hey, I can still catch this. And so, or like they're on a different device or something. Well, if someone knew they could still get to your LinkedIn, but they didn't have their phone, they could have joined in like this, right, Rita?
Right. And we, I try. I'm the one who does the LinkedIn. I pay for all of the other platforms, but I do the LinkedIn. So I realized I've got a lot to learn. And one of the things, I don't know how to tag. I've got, over 6,000 followers. But I need to do a better job than, connecting to the people that, are my followers.
Well, we'll work together on that. But the whole reason I wanted to showcase you is because of the amount of content you're putting out there. This is how to find the different radio segments. This is the different way to find the roundtables. And so when people have access to that, not only can they go review it later, but it's on that. It puts it on their head of, hey, I need to do that, or hey, I had homework I was supposed to do for Rita, or I had homework I was supposed to do for the next roundtable. And so it's good to see that, not just the day-to-day business stuff, but then to also see other people doing stuff. And then as you follow more inventors and you follow more product developers or videographers, you see this stuff and you're like, oh, that's creative. I could use that for me, or that's inspirational. I want to follow the same suit.
So, well, I'm really glad that I've got the same logo going and that the picture actually looks like me.
Good, because I've seen some people that use some pixelated ones, and I'm like, come on, man, you're a high dollar person, and you're asking these high level companies to work with you, and then you have a pixelated image that they can't even tell if it's you or a video game player.
We do
What's some other? Go ahead.
We do get a lot more followers with video and images than we do with text. So we've learned that. I've learned that. So
what's the next question? Otherwise, I'll go into like one more high level profile that I did just to show you someone that had almost all of it, which was kind of interesting, because one of the other things now with people doing like the headhunter things is the resume builders, and people are paying hundreds of dollars for them to rewrite their resumes to get higher end jobs or C-level jobs or company equity and things. Well, now they're doing that with LinkedIn profiles to actually update them and make them professional enough, because if you're asking for 6 figures or 7 figures, and then, yeah, granted, if you're coming from a huge Gillette company or something, you just believe it, And then there's other people that have to do the proof of concept, like, here's what I've done. Here's my letters of recommendation. Here's my recommendations. That all starts to add up. Questions, anybody?
Nope, go for it.
One other thing I always recommend from people is try to get recommendations. It is super hard. I've asked 300 people for recommendations and I have 27. So this, this shows like what you're actually working on. Not only is it for a post, but then it's something that people can review and like, why should I work with you on the pet magnet? Why should I believe that you can do injection molding for me? And then when you have both case studies for it or white papers or documents and people that are endorsing you for that, they're a lot more comfortable because they're like, other people have done this. And you can say you work for anybody and it's like, hey man, I could go sell toilet paper to the government. I'm a government contractor. No, you sold a case of toilet paper because you went under budget or you went under cost, versus people that are actually sticking their neck out for you to give you a recommendation. So the LinkedIn recommendations are really awesome. They've helped me a lot for like higher level projects that I was trying to accomplish. When you're asking for a lot of money and for someone to trust you, and there's someone in their organization or their industry that had given you a glowing review or paper, it's something to try. A lot of them will go unnoticed, especially if the person's not a LinkedIn person. So like if you're asking someone and the little green dot's not on, don't always plan that they're going to help you. But like, so if I ask for a letter of recommendation from Rita, you have to say how you guys know each other. So are they a client of yours? Are you a client of theirs? Did you go to school together? Did you work together? You can't just like recommend someone. They actually kind of vet it out a little bit, that they want to know why you are recommending someone. So it's easy to do, but that it helps your profile get that extra boost. Even if you've only got 3 of them, start with 3 of them. And then another aspect is that I learned recently is your skills. Once these get to 99, change them out. You want to do another skill that you want to be known for, no matter if it's graphic design or Excel or pet washing. If that got to 99, start moving them around so that you can then get your skills all maxed out. Like, it's not a video game and an RPG, but it's got an essence of that you can make these better. And then I wanted to show you one more profile. Loading. I have to pay for Starlink, guys. That or the kids are playing too much multiplayer.
There you go. You can send me that request for a recommendation and I'll give it on how good you are at doing this.
Hey, I got you on video, so you can't back out now, Rita. This was a professional client I took on that had a LinkedIn profile that was 9 years old. And so I spent a ton of time, and luckily he had like a really nice he had a really nice resume because he had recently changed jobs in 3 months. So I took a lot of his information. I updated, he's a veterinarian, if you can't tell. Hopefully you saw that within 8 seconds, because that was the whole goal. We wanted people to know he was a small animal veterinarian. And then like, so this image is actually from chat. So this is his, and I said, mix it with a image of a small animal veterinarian. And it gave me some other photos and guys that was not him. And then I finally finished this one. This is back to that phonetic thing I was telling you about. I don't know if it will play over the computer.
Dr. James Preeter.
Did you guys hear that?
Mhm.
Dr. James Preeter.
So I really thought his name was Pruder, and I had even said it wrong. And then we worked on that, and he recorded into his phone, which is another benefit. You cannot do this unless you have LinkedIn on your phone. So if you are on your desktop, don't try to do the phonetic pronunciation. It only works on the app. It was really easy to add his schools. It was really easy to do all the times he's been cited in books because he had it. So he's been in white papers. He's been quoted in all these veterinarian books. We made his first post about an event he was going to because he's not the type that is going to post a lot with just what he's doing with his credentials. But it also shows that people that are going to this event know that he's going, which then his colleagues would be like, oh, I need to run into Dr. James. And then any of the pages I made a professional page for the animal clinic versus like where he's at now that doesn't have a professional LinkedIn page. That's why it's that generic gray building one versus the one we were able to add for him. So like even this, like if you guys saw this from a distance, which one looks better? Just strictly the one that has an image. It looks more professional. It looks more legitimized. And so this is an example of a higher level profile because the person was established. They were seasoned. They've got book credentials. They have notoriety. They have things that they've done. And so this was an easy one to do versus if you're straight out of college and you're like, I graduated college and I played track. That's what you get to put unless you were in honor society, unless you were able to graduate magna cum laude, all that good stuff. So keep that stuff in mind too. The more you can add, the better in the beginning, like your CPR trainings and all that good stuff, just to have something on your page. What's the next set of questions, Rita?
Well, it is 8 o'clock, so we generally wrap up at about an hour, but you've given me lots to do. Thank you very much because I didn't have enough. But I need to, do some work on mine. It is one of my main go-tos out there to reach out to folks and, let them know what we do to help inventors get from, I have an idea to the patent process to, the marketplace. So I will share with everybody your contact information.
Please do.
I've got everybody. Ward, I do not have your email address, but I will post this on LinkedIn so you can find it if you connect to me. Okay. Otherwise, you've got my email address. Shoot me over your email so that I've got you, and then I will send you Brandon's information. And that way, then if you guys have got other questions for Brandon, you can just reach out with an email or on LinkedIn. So Brandon, thanks so much. This was really good. We're going to have you back again when we can have some more folks listen to you. But in the meantime, we will post the video out there, and I will send you a link so you can put it on LinkedIn. And
recommendation, LinkedIn recommendation. Yep.
There you go. And I will get you a recommendation, my dear. Thanks, everybody. And if you've got questions, reach out, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer them. I've got Brian on the radio on Monday. Ward, if you're ever interested in being on the radio, let me know because, I got to do it every week. And in the meantime, thanks for joining us tonight. And everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Rita.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye-bye, guys.
Brandon. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Brandon.
Definitely, Andrea.